So, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. A very warm welcome from myself and IAC to today's webinar with Master Connection Associates with Kimberly Pung and Carla Michael. Just before we start, I think most of you know me, but for those who don't, I'm Kate Bacon. I'm Customer Relations and Events Manager for IAC, and one of my roles is looking after the global webinar programme. For those who haven't joined the session before, we have got a few new people with us today. You will notice we do put you all on mute and ask you to fire your questions at Kim and Carla through the chat box at the bottom of your screens, and they will take questions throughout the session, so please make sure you do that. As always, we do record our sessions, so our sessions will be forwarded to you afterwards, but also will be available on our IAC On Demand page on our website and also the IAC YouTube channel. So without further ado, let me hand you over to our presenters today, Kimberly Pung and Carla Michael. Thanks, ladies.
Thank you, Kate, so much for that great introduction. It's such a pleasure to be with the IAC team again today. And as you said, I'm going to quickly mute everyone, but we do want to encourage your participation. There'll be a couple opportunities throughout the session that we're going to ask you to chat in some responses or some questions, ideas. But if you have questions throughout, it's always our preference to ask the questions in the moment. So Carla and I will be keeping an eye on that chat function. So as we go through the content and you have questions, we ask you to share them, and then we'll take a moment to answer them as we go. So we will let you unmute yourselves when we get to that point, or if you have a question, we can do that as well. We're going to talk about social selling today, and this is really going to be focused really primarily on you and your personal branding and your personal online presence. All of your brands have a presence online. Marketing does a great job, certainly, of that for us. But it's really today about how important it is for us to have our own personal brand and be able to be providing very inspiring digital content to our customers, to our prospects, to the groups and segments and industries that we want to engage in order to have a stronger presence, in order to be seen as a trusted advisor in the industry. And so it is really important that we think about our own personal presence, because how we sell matters and how our process of how we sell matters, but how we engage with our customers matters even more. And traditionally in sales, of course, we've always talked about our engagement with our customers in the sales process, right? So how we do sales calls and how we present our brands and our properties and how we engage with them in that way. But we have to also expand our thought about what that engagement looks like. And an engagement begins far before we even consider them a customer, right? And so in that discovery phase for our clients, as they are seeking solutions, right, we want them to find us. We want them to be able to see us as a solution that is going to be good for them. And so we want to be present in the places where our clients and customers are doing business, are going to for for resources, are going for information as they're doing searches, as they're doing things. We want to make sure that we that we are in those places where they can find us. And so creating excitement and inspiring them around what they can do. And so we take a look today at social media and really the value of our presence in social media. Statistics say that leads developed through a salesperson's social marketing convert 7 times more frequently than other leads. And so that's why it's so critical for us to have this presence. That's what makes social selling, as we call it, so much more powerful today. And think of all the resources and the platforms that we have at our disposal as an opportunity to engage with our clients. But today we're going to look at specifically LinkedIn and how to maximize LinkedIn for selling. Many of you traditionally have probably thought as LinkedIn as more of a corporate sort of resume builder thing. It has broadened its horizon so much in the last few years, and particularly throughout COVID and the pandemic, it has been the place to be and the place to go for information, for resources, for that information. We're going to take a look at that and how we can make sure that we're maximizing not only how we're using LinkedIn to find prospects, to find connections, but to be found, right? To be a place, to have a presence online in LinkedIn where people are seeking our authority, where they're seeking our insights, where they're seeing our presence on there and beginning to see us as a trusted advisor. Also, of course, LinkedIn with those connections, how we use those connections and referrals to generate warmer leads. In my opinion today, there's no such thing as a cold call. So we want to figure out how we can make those leads warmer by how we connect and how we interact on social media. We want to look at how we capitalize our social selling through other platforms such as Facebook, LinkedIn, use of LinkedIn groups, Facebook groups, Instagram, of course, becoming a very popular business platform for businesses to promote what they're doing, and also through messaging apps such as WeChat and WhatsApp. There's so many opportunities for us to do. So we're going to take a look at how to maximize those, give some key tips and insights around those, and then also the importance of planning how we're utilizing our social media. And we're going to take a look at how to use even some specific tools out there. Of course, there's a tool and app for everything that will allow us to be more thoughtful and how we stay in front of our clients. Because certainly with COVID, right, all bets are off. Everyone that wasn't on social media is on now, because for months now, it was really the only way we could really connect and stay in front of our clients. And so if this is a strength of yours, this opportunity in this hour we're going to spend today is going to be a chance for us to get even better. If this is an area that you want to improve, then hopefully we can give you some tips today on how to do that. But I want to start off first by just asking you if you could just place your comments in the chat form, just to get a pulse on kind of where everyone is. Because again, some of you are really good at this already. Some of you are on this today because you're like, I don't even know where to start. So if you could please in the chat box, just quickly share what platforms you are currently using on a fairly regular basis. So it's part of your social, it's part of your selling, and how are you using them? So how specifically are you using them, either to find and identify prospects, or how are you using them to engage with the clients or prospects that you're trying to go after? So if you could just take a moment to send that information over the chat, that would be great. So we're going to move along though and continue talking about that, and we'll come back to those responses here in just one moment. But when we think about our engagement with our clients, there's really different levels of how we engage in social media, right? So the first would be a brand presence, right? This is where our brands have pages on LinkedIn, Facebook, on Instagram. This is where we even have our own, right, page that we have, our own profiles that we're having on there. And that is just brand recognition, really. That is for people to find us where we are. But then there's a second level of selling that we want to take a look at, our engagement with our customers, which is, of course, us using these tools to look for opportunities, right? So as a research tool, as a research mode, we're collecting information, we're looking up people that we're going to be meeting with, so we have a sense of who they are and what they do and their pictures, so we can recognize them in a networking group, right? We're doing searches on LinkedIn or in other platforms to help identify potential clients. So using those advanced search features, we're finding meeting planners, we're finding organizations that do businesses. So we're using that tool as a way that we're not necessarily selling, but we're researching and taking information from the tools, right? So then that third level of engagement is what we call more of an active selling, right? And this is where we are proactively growing our network socially, right? We are proactively contributing to the social environment. So we're adding insights, we're sharing stories. We have a real presence ourselves, and others see us as that trusted advisor and someone that provides insights. And so we're going to look at today specifically how you personally can be more active in this social selling as a way to engage where your customers are. So let's take a look at what some of the comments are so far as what people are using. So Veronica says she's using Hootsuite and a Facebook business account, right? And maybe you can tell us, Veronica, how you're using those. Matthew says Facebook and Insta, Carrie, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook via Hootsuite for engagement and research, she says, so doing both of the things we just talked about. Elise, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, same with Lucia. Anna, Instagram and Facebook. Being a smaller team, we focus on showing our clients we are a tight, fun, and engaging community. So Anna, I'd love to hear from you later. We're going to talk about that, right? We want to use these tools, we're going to use these platforms as a way of showing people who we are, right? Not just resume, but what we can do for them. And we want to inspire them with our visuals, with our images, with our videos, with our engagement as a way to show them who we are. So, Anne, I'm going to have you share with us maybe later specifically what you are doing to show your clients that you are fun and an engaging community, right? Andrew says, I'm an industry vendor, so Instagram is used to promote our brand, culture, and people, dial up how our people drive our brand, produce quality products, and make it fun side of our business platform. LinkedIn to promote our innovation and design and product and position for us as thought leaders in the industry. This is one of a more professional business connection approach, right? So there are different approaches, right? And we're going to take a look at how to use the different platforms for different goals, right? As Andrew's identified here, there's a different goal for them on Instagram than there is on LinkedIn. That doesn't necessarily have to be the case. You can certainly be one that posts the same things on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, even Twitter every day, or you can mix those messages up as Andrew has with his organization and targeting very specific messages to very specific clients as a way to engage and connect with them. So at this point, really nothing is stopping us as we think about how we do that. But on a very basic level, right? On a very basic level, we are building a network, right? So, and this is from the beginning, when we think about LinkedIn in particular, it was all about growing those connections, adding those. It's almost like a popularity contest, right? Like the more we can add, the better we can do. But we want to be thoughtful about the people that we're connecting with, right? We want to have a reason for building those relationships in a way that's going to support our professional objectives, for support where we're going, because those first degree connections are often going to be our friends, our family, our colleagues, people that work with us. Certainly prospects and clients that we meet and do business with become those first connections. But as we think about expanding and growing our network and the real value, a lot of that value comes, right, from those second and third degree connections. So it's the people we're connected to that we're connecting to other people. And so take a look at how big, right, the network gets, right? If I have 520 connections, one connection away, right, that second degree away from me is close to 100,000. And then we're up over, right, 6 million. So we want to think about how we connect with people and utilizing LinkedIn. When we think about, a new prospect that we have, right, and we maybe look them up on LinkedIn and we figure out how we're going to connect with them. One of the first things we're going to look at is who else is connected to them that we can ask for recommendation, that we could ask for a referral, an introduction to. And so on a very basic level, right, that social media is connecting us with other people and a way for us to get more connections and expand our network. But as we know, it's so much more than that. And so how is our profile, how is our presence on LinkedIn really selling us, right? How are we standing out on LinkedIn? I want to think about today how powerful your individual profile is. And we're going to take a look at some very specific questions and very specific strategies about how to be more deliberate in how we are presenting ourselves, particularly through our LinkedIn profile. And I think as we have certainly experienced over the last year, for sure, LinkedIn has expanded far beyond just that corporate network into many other segments, certainly social, certainly other meetings and planners and things too have really expanded that network. And so we really want to think about how is my LinkedIn profile showcasing my expertise? How is my profile alone potentially attracting new customers? So when other clients, people in the industry are looking for vendors, are looking for solutions, and they search, am I popping up? Am I hitting on those search engines? Am I hitting on those keywords? When they see me, is it somebody that they say, yes, I'd really like to talk to him or her? They seem like they have a pulse on what's going on. They seem very savvy within the industry or have a lot of expertise in their particular area when it comes to planning or to meetings or other things. And so it's very important that we reflect on our own personal LinkedIn profiles and really think about what needs to be improved. There's some very specific things that we want to look at today about how to create a very strong LinkedIn profile. First, of course, we must have a photo. I can't tell you how many times I go searching for colleagues. I go searching for people that I've just met on a webinar, for people that I've just met in another Zoom meeting, right? And I want to go and connect with them, or I'm anticipating going on a meeting with them and I want to look them up. No picture. It's amazing even today, now in 2021, no picture, right? So it's important that we have a photo. Our profile is 14 times more likely to be looked at when we have a profile. So you know how it feels when you go onto that profile and you don't have a picture, how important that is. So making sure that we have a profile, and it doesn't have to be a super straight up stingy, done in a professional studio photo. It must convey who you are. It must convey, just have a warm and approachable expression that maybe in some respects even shows your personality a bit. So that's really important. The second is that we're using that banner image behind our profile to give us some additional information. That is very high-end real estate right there behind your name. And so this is the longer landscape photo that goes behind your profile picture and your headline. You want to make sure that you're utilizing that, and it is either showcasing your property, your venue. That's a really good way to utilize that within this industry, or something in events or things that you've done, something that showcases very specifically what you do and captures that attention of those prospects or those potential customers that are looking for you. The third thing is having a very strategic headline, right? And a strategic headline should be more than just your title, right? It needs to have something unique. Our title comes later in our experience. Right now, you're trying to capture the imagination of the people that are searching you. So you want to say things like, I help design unique and memorable meetings or incentives and events at your particular property. And so making sure it says something very specific as to how it relates to you and what you do, and using some of those keywords, which we're going to talk about in just a moment again, because that relates to our summary. And this is the about part of our LinkedIn profile, right? The about part should very specifically tell not only about you, but about the property and about the venue. So usually I would suggest you take the first paragraph to talk about your venue, about your property, about your company, and what you can do for clients, right? And then a paragraph about you specifically, your expertise, your passions, what you do to make meetings and events or whatever come to life for your clients has to be very specific. So let's go back to those keywords, because what you want to do is you want to brainstorm 10 keywords that you would want to be found when people are doing searches. So what are some of the 10 keywords that describe what you do, what you offer, what your product offers, what your venue offers? So when other people are searching LinkedIn and they're looking for vendors, they're looking for opportunities, you're going to pop up. So brainstorm what those 10 keywords were, and then make sure that those keywords are in your headline, are in your summary, so that as people are searching, they're going to find you. Then some of the more obvious things, you want to make sure you have very detailed experience, at least the last 2 positions. This is where you tell title and time and what you did, but make sure as you're explaining your experience that it doesn't like, I produced this much revenue and I, did this and closed this much business. Think about what your customers want to hear, right? We're not looking for a job, right? So your summary and profile are going to be very different when you're looking for a job than when you are currently trying to find customers. So position how you're writing about yourself in a way that shows people what you can do for them, not necessarily what you've done for your hotel, because yes, revenue is great, but clients don't necessarily care about revenue. Clients care about what you specifically are going to do for them that's going to make that experience good for them. So making sure as you're positioning your experience and describing what you've done, it all is transferable and relatable to the clients that you're trying to connect with. Then your education, of course, at least 3 recommendations. Now, recommendations we can't put on ourselves. People have to do that for us. But you certainly can ask for recommendations in the same way that you would ask for referrals. So if you have a client, you have a meeting planner, you have somebody that's really just been really happy with an event that you've just done with them or a meeting that they've just done, it would be appropriate to ask, would you please do a recommendation for me on LinkedIn? And then you can invite them to do that way. Those are important ways for others to see that you're credible and valued within the industry. And then, of course, linking other social media activity. All of it should be linked together so people can jump to different parts of your pages, but also see and get to those things accessible through other correspondence and collateral that you're sending out. But bottom line, at this stage in the game, unless you're looking for a job, right? And then it would be different. Most of us at this point hopefully are not looking for a job. We are looking for clients. And so our profile must convey a message that gets us those clients and not just looking for a job. Now, some of you may be looking for a job because obviously we're in a place right now where many of us have had a pretty big shift, right, in employment over the last year. And then you utilize these same techniques and same techniques, but positioning them in the way that you're attracting an employer, and how that messaging would be a little bit different, of course, when you're attracting an employer. But again, what's most important about LinkedIn is that we're connecting with people, not promoting, right? When we talk about social selling, we're selling, yes, but we're selling in a very assumptive, very organic, very natural way that isn't all about big self-promotion, right? It's all about connecting with other people, sharing insights, showing what we can do to bring value to them so that people feel like, I'm glad I'm connected with her. She shares a lot of great information that is useful for me when it comes to travel, when it's useful for me when it comes to meetings, it's useful for me when it comes to how to interact with clients. It's just motivational for me sometimes when I see the things that they're posting. And so we want to think about how we're connecting with others. We're going to speak more to this in a moment, but watching people's connection updates and commenting on them. That's how we engage with other people, commenting on others' posts, sharing others' posts, sharing relevant articles that other people are sharing, and other ideas that you're seeing. Obviously, for us right now, a big part of what we're trying to do is promote the industry, promote travel, promote safety. So anything that we see around trends in how travel is taking off, how meetings are taking off, how people are becoming more comfortable, or how they're being innovative and how we're continuing to handle meetings, even aside from hybrid or other things. Those are things we want to share because that not only perpetuates what we can personally do, but it perpetuates what our industry is doing and will continue to propel all of us in a positive direction as we hope to regain and recover, right, from COVID and from the pandemic. So when we're on LinkedIn, we are also giving recommendations, right? When we ask for recommendations, we want to be giving recommendations. And when people see you as somebody who's engaged in that way, then that reflects positively on you. Finding ways to connect other people together, right? So when we have connections of people that we can see there's a relevant relationship or beneficial relationship, that we would do that as well. Finally, don't ignore any messages. And sometimes we get some of those spam type messages that we think this has nothing to do with us. It's important to respond to every message. We never really know for sure. And so one way to do that is to reply back if someone's reconnected with you, you're not sure who they are, you've sent a message to you, you're unfamiliar with who they are, just respond back and say, so great to hear from you. How might our connection mutually benefit both of us? And find out from them specifically what it was or why it was that they reached out to you. That's an important thing for us when we're reaching out as well, is that we should personalize everything, right? No one should ever wonder why they're getting a connection request from us and who this person is. And if they are, then we haven't done a very good job of connecting with them. And so when we're sending connection requests, always send a personal message. Either we're following up from having met them somewhere, we're following up from maybe where we engaged with them somewhere together online, either a webinar or a conference or something. Always reference why it is that you're connecting with them or what the relationship is, so that they don't ever wonder, like, who is this person and do I really want to connect with them? That it's very clear and very, I think back to my own personal example, right? When years ago when I got on Pinterest, first of all, I got to be honest, I didn't really get it. I didn't really understand it. I didn't, I had friends on it. I'm like, I don't get this. So of course I got my Pinterest and I put a few things on, but not really. And I kept having people like, oh, so-and-so is following you, so-and-so is following you. And I'm like, wow, they are going to be sorely disappointed following me because I don't have a lot of things to share with them. And so you don't want people to be sorely disappointed or forget that they're even following you. You have people in your contact, you're like, I don't even know why I'm following them anymore, right? You don't want to be that person. You want to be the one that is adding value all the time and getting people connected in a way that is insightful and that is engaging. All right. Just checking to see if there's any questions. Again, if you have things that you're going along, please don't hesitate to share those questions. I do want to ask you though, and you can put this in the chat, how often are you posting on LinkedIn? And if you're not posting a lot on LinkedIn, but other platforms, and you can go ahead and say instead on Instagram and this so often, or Facebook and this so often. Let's just hear from everyone how often you are posting with your clients. We'll circle back to that in a moment. But again, it is about being a social seller. We talked about some basic elements that create success right on LinkedIn, polishing your profile, building your network, using it to gather our own intelligence, our own research. But really, I want to reiterate how important it is, again, to be contributing those insights to other people so that they see our engagement with them as being valuable to them. One way to do that is through LinkedIn groups, right? LinkedIn groups where we join groups that are relevant to our passions, to our industries, to our interests, right? And again, it's not about joining these groups to promote. We're not just joining groups to promote our services, to promote our venues, to promote our properties. This is very, very quickly going to turn prospects off from you. You have to be engaged in the dialogue. The reason for joining a group is to engage in meaningful conversations with those who have similar interests, who those are part of similar industries, who those are sharing similar concerns or pain points or insights around what you want to do. And so you want to be a part of those groups as a way to contribute ideas, contribute those insights, engaging in that dialogue as a way to show our expertise, right, in what we're doing, to establish that trust, to establish that credibility with them. In fact, I have a really amazing statistic that was done, a test that was done at the call center in Tampa, Florida, where the researchers first used a very typical cold call strategy and called 1,000, just cold called 1,000 people, right, to try to get appointments, right? Then they took a second test group of another 1,000. And the only thing they changed was they started the conversation by saying, I understand we share a common LinkedIn group. Just that statement alone increased the number of appointments they got by 70%, right? So we do have a goal here. We do have a goal to connect, promote, to get prospects, to get business, right? But our initial thing is not to promote. Our initial thing is to be in the know, is to be in the places that our clients are going to be in, and being able to showcase that expertise that we have, demonstrate our understanding of the meetings industry, of the travel industry, of COVID, of what's happening, be on top of all of that, sharing insights that we're getting from other experts along the way, other articles that we're doing, all of those to help us establish that credibility. Now, yes, after we spend some time in a group, after we spend some time developing some meaningful relationships in that group, then yes, we can send connection requests to those people. We can invite them into our network. The best time to do that is after you've had like a meaningful interaction with somebody back and forth through a conversation or through a group or messaging, or met with them in some particular way like that. So it is going to lead us to connections, but initially that should not be our goal, is to just continue to, gather connections through our participation in groups, but rather to really be utilizing those groups on to engage and promote that conversation. All right, so I only had one person, I think, Lindsay was the only one who said how often she's posting. She says Facebook, oh, a couple more coming in now. Facebook and Instagram almost daily, Twitter sometimes daily, sometimes a couple times a day, LinkedIn almost never, our Google pages almost daily. So again, I love to hear daily, Lindsay, that's great. Anna says she has to slip off for a call, with Mr. Cooper, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. But she says, but our Facebook and Instagram posts will often post photos of our team members interacting with clients, posting some of our clients' favorite foods or videos of us doing karaoke, dancing at the end of the week. We want our clients to know we are approachable. We listen to what we need or need listen to what they like or need change, that we really have fun hosting our meetings while staying professional. And I appreciate you sharing that, Anna, because it is really all about showing our personality, right? We've never had a better opportunity through video, through images, to be able to share the really unique personality of our teams, right? And what we can do for our clients, of our venues, of our properties, of our organizations, right? Whether if I'm a photographer, if I'm a marketer, I can do the same thing as if I were a venue hosting things. So it's important for us to be able to do that. Andrew says Instagram posts 2 per week is their goal. LinkedIn 1 per month from a company profile and product innovation, 1 post per month from my profile to promote our brand and people, 1 article per quarter from my profile, linking back to the company profile and so on and so forth. So Carrie, at present, all channels weekly. Whilst we've been closed, we wanted people to tell people what we've been up to whilst being closed during COVID. Throwback posts with fun facts, history coming soon. Yes, and I think certainly in the thrust of the pandemic, and I say that hoping that we're kind of seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, we're coming out of this, right? There was certainly an element of just staying engaged with people, right? And a lot of that was fun. We had a lot of it was not a real high pressure sell. That's never really been the goal, but certainly the tone of things changed during COVID as a way to just stay connected, sharing fun facts, sharing history. I had a client of ours, we use a company actually out of the UK to do some of our translations of our materials. And over Christmas, they sent a really fun posting, and then also through email promotion of like, here's, different ways to say happy holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever the holiday is in different languages, right? Just fun, but a fun way to stay top of mind, right? That he's staying engaged with us as a client and as a customer. We appreciate that, and it keeps him top of mind when indeed we are ready and need those services again. And so it's important for us to think about that. And so let's look at some best practices. And best practices are really posting once a day. Now, some of you are like freaking out right now when I said that, thinking I can't possibly do that. This isn't, original content that you are having to come up with every single day. What you're doing sometimes is sharing tips from an article you read, and maybe it's unrelated. Maybe it's about time management or how to be more productive, and oftentimes then it should be related to the industry, to meetings, to things. So an interesting article that you've read that you're going to post, a quote that you found will be inspire people, especially during more difficult times like we've just been through. And then, yes, we're selling and we're leading with insights. Mary Hannah on our team is great about her social media, and she literally does post every single day for sure on LinkedIn and every couple of days on Instagram, right? And so it's important for us to think about what we're doing and how we're utilizing that to sell. And so, yes, every few days, there'll be another one that says, leading with some insight, like 40% of salespeople say prospecting is the most challenging part of sales. And then that'll lead into, here's what MCA can do to help you with your prospecting efforts, right? So there are going to be some selling opportunities, but for the most part, it is just engaging with our clients where their pain points are and helping them with insights that keep us top of mind, so that when they are looking for training, they'll think back to Mary, they'll think back to Cindy, they'll think back to things that I posted or that Carla posted through our newsletter or through sharing Cindy's podcast, that just are going to keep us present within that environment. So a couple things to consider. Timing is important. LinkedIn, you're going to find most people are posting because it is still a little bit more corporate business, 8 to 10 in the morning. Instagram tends to be in the afternoon. But thinking about how our posts are inspiring, entertaining, and informing, right? We've talked about articles that we can share. We've talked about different things that we're sharing from other people. In fact, I'll share another funny one with this translation company. They shared about all the translations kind of gone bad, right? And so one of them was spicy brave potatoes and other fabulous mistranslations. And so different ways that people translated things wrong on their own that ended up being really funny, but kind of proving a point like, you still need us. You still need us to do the translation. So what are some creative and fun things that we can do about our industries that'll share some of those fun things and inspire our clients around that as well? What's really, really important is that when we're sharing a post or commenting on someone else's post, that we always do so with at least 5 words or more. And that's going to hit that LinkedIn algorithm to make sure that we stay more top of mind and are popping up more frequently. So always be sure, don't just hit like or the little smiley face or the heart, but actually make a comment and make sure your comment is at least 5 words. So rather than saying great article, this is a great article about, and that'll get you more engagement there. In respect to articles, make sure the headlines of articles sometimes can be very misleading. A headline pops up and you think, oh, this is a great article, I'm going to share with everyone. Make sure that you read the article before you share it, because you never know at the end of it, it might have a completely opposite opinion from what you thought the article was about, and you'd hate to be promoting something that was contentious to what you were doing, or flying against, of course, the things that you thought were going to be important in what you're trying to promote as well. Using video is very important. We're going to talk a little bit more about video toward the end of this as well, but video is critical. And this does not have to be super amazing curated video from your marketing company or from your company or from your organization. What works best is what they call the ugly videos, right? These are the ones that I just go out in my ballroom, I just go out on our front foyer area, I just go out to our pool area or our general assembly area, and I shoot a quick video and I talk about things about it, or I shoot a quick video about what's going on with a specific group, or I show video of a break that we're doing, right? Those are the types of things that people actually like more, much more well received, get much more traction, much more likes and shares than even those super, curated professional types of videos. And so with iPhones and other technology today, it's super easy for all of us to create very, very well done videos, but on the fly, right? I do it now and I pop it up, and it's in the moment and very insightful for our clients. And then blogging. Blogging scares a lot of people. Blogging is really just writing an article, right? It's really just sharing an opinion, sharing insight, sharing thoughts. And so thinking about how you can build that into your thing as well. So I just want to quickly go back to just posting once a day. So I use Mary and our team as an example. As I said, LinkedIn, she does post every day. And again, it's sometimes tips, sometimes she's sharing another article, sometimes it's something specific to MCA that she's done. But then it's also about travel, and she's sharing and reposting things about, what's going on with COVID and countries opening up, and things that, again, are promoting the industry that are going to be really well thought of. And then on her Instagram, you'll find, every couple of days she's posting. It is a little more personal, right? So she does have a different approach, much like I think Andrew said that he is using, where it's more about her personal passions. It's also very professional, but a lot still about travel, a lot still about the industry and ways to inspire people around what we're doing. So that's why it's so important to have a plan. And we're going to talk about having a plan here toward the end. But again, there are going to be certain places, certain platforms. There are so many avenues, right, for our customers to find them. We want to make sure that we are present where they're most likely to find them. And although certainly in any of these platforms, you could find any number of markets, but typically you're going to find the more social markets are on Instagram, on Pinterest. Pinterest has evolved a lot since my original delving into Pinterest years ago, right? Companies have Pinterest pages. In fact, many people, I think I said 1 out of 2 people who are searching Pinterest for an organization or a venue to use will then end up going with that. So there is a lot to do with promotion on Pinterest too. Facebook, corporate, of course, still LinkedIn, but you're finding a lot of corporate also on Instagram. You're finding a lot of corporate also on Facebook, particularly obviously in Facebook groups. You're going to find that. Leisure travel, a lot of posting on Instagram, on Facebook, because that's where you're going to find a lot of those clients are looking for those Instagrammable moments, right? We're trying to inspire people around travel, and images and pictures certainly do that the best way. And then corporate travel with LinkedIn too. And so we just want to put ourselves in the driver's seat. It's a very cluttering world to the consumer. We want to put ourselves in the driver's seat so that we are in the places where they are likely to find us, and we are in places we are showing that great expertise. So let's talk about Instagram specifically, right? It is important if we're using Instagram. And again, I'll answer the question now because it usually comes up, should I have a separate Instagram for work than I do for business, and the same with Facebook or whatever? It's really up to you. Most of us don't. You obviously have to be very thoughtful about what you're putting on your personal Instagram that is going to be relatable to clients too, and want to be professional. But most of us feel that clients want to see kind of that mix of who we are personally as well as business. But you want that your profile, and your profile is what you've built over the the years with the different images and pictures and things that you've shared, making sure that your bio kind of articulates again what you do, right? You want your bio to explain how you can connect with people and what resources and value you bring to them. But bottom line, you want it fun for people to follow. You want people, again, to be like, I'm glad I follow her. It's fun, it's interesting, and I have insights from what she shares with me. And just make people easy for people to see your passion around the hotel, around your venue, around your destination, whatever the case may be. And then engage with them, right? Engage with your followers, comment on their what they're posting, comment on what they're sharing, so that they see that engagement back from you. And again, create those really compelling stories through videos, through picture uploads, images, those types of things. Those Instagram stories, which we're going to talk about in depth in a moment, is important in kind of keeping that creativity alive and not really getting stale. Again, it's all about those Instagrammable moments, and we know that millennial and Gen Z generation particular, this is about, it's very visual for them. So we want to be part of that visual experience that they are part of in that world they are. So we want to tell our story through those captivating photos, through videos, through captions, and really inspires people's passions around travel, around meetings, about what they can do, and get them excited about what they can do. I thought this was a very interesting statistic. There are 500 million Instagram accounts, right, using Instagram stories. 1/3 of the most viewed stories come from businesses. So this is a truly legitimate business platform for us to be engaging with our clients. But we have to be thoughtful about what we're putting out there that's really showing people, as you said, what's going to be interesting to them, what's going to inspire them, what's going to show them who we are, what we do, our personality, what we do. The bottom line, that we have expertise to share, and that we are certainly someone of value that they should want to connect with. Also, a great statistic here: 1 in 5 stories gets a direct message from its viewers. So I think stories also contribute to that engagement with them. And again, we know that video really resonates with the millennial audience. So I think Andrew has a question here. On LinkedIn, I would love to hear what post content get the most activity and engagement, meaning do audiences gravitate to stories about people, products, or does it simply vary? Gosh, I'll be really honest, Andrew, I'm not sure exactly. And I think it's going to depend on the industry, what people do. And I'm sure there are some LinkedIn analytics that we could find that kind of show us what specifically is most compelling. I think what we have to consider is our audience and thinking about who our target audience is. And one of the best ways to think about our target audience is who are our best customers already. So who already do we do business with that we find is a great fit for us, has the right, spend, has the right, profitability, whatever it is, and think about other clients like them. What is going to be interesting to them? And I think if we think about things from the lens of our clients and how people are viewing our profiles rather than just kind of this self-promotion, right? If we can get away from the self-promotion, I think we will be posting things that people do gravitate to, that people do resonate with, that people do find relevant and insightful in their work, in their play, in their passions, in their whatever. And so I hope that was a good answer. But again, Andrew, I'm happy to follow up later. I'm sure we can check in with LinkedIn on those analytics and get some real data on that. But I think in general, it's just up to us to think about what do we think is going to inspire our people and the clients and the people we're trying to attract. Now, we talked about LinkedIn groups. Let me just quickly speak about Facebook groups, because I think this has become, from a business standpoint, even more valuable than I think our Facebook profile and feed, right? So there are groups for everything: hospitality, travel, meetings, foodies, planners. And some of us have been on these hospitality sites, of course, that over the last 8 months has been a lot about job searching, but there are lots of others, right? There are lots of others in the industry that we can be a part of, that people are talking about what's happening in the industry, what's happening with meetings, what's happening with travel, what's happening with all the things that are insightful for us too. And so it's important for us to be in these groups too. Again, not necessarily to promote who we are, but to be engaged in the conversation of what's happening in our industry, find out what people's concerns and hot buttons are and pain points are, be part of the answers and solutions to that as well. But in many respects, the involvement in these groups can be much more influential than our Facebook feed itself. And so being thoughtful about the groups that you're joining, and then again, not just joining to kind of pirate off of it, but joining with the intent that I'm going to engage about the industry. I'm going to share the same thing we talked about with the LinkedIn, that I'm going to share knowledge. And after I have those relationships, after I build those connections, after I have that engagement with people, then of course I can reach out, connect with them, bring them in as a follower to myself. But it is a way for us to meet many more people within the industry, be exposed to many more people within the industry than we're going to find in our own feed and the people that we are connected to individually. What's also important about this with Facebook groups and with LinkedIn groups too, is that we call it in-group bias, right? People buy from people that are like them, and really the referrals that people are going to give, or the recommendations that people are going to give. When you're in a group of people that are in travel or meetings or advisors, and you hear other advisors making recommendations or suggesting things or offering solutions, within that group, there is a bias that you're going to think they must know what they're talking about. And so that gives us some credibility as well in the industry as to who we're going to be working with and talking to. But as I said, there are groups for everything. And so go out and find, there's planner groups, there's luxury travel groups, there's groups about destinations and cities. So lots of places for us to find ourselves. And if you join one and you're not getting a lot, from it, meaning, there's not a lot of really valid content for you to add to or to even share on your own social media, then find another one. Find one that is a good fit for you. So as we think about everything we've talked about, it can be very overwhelming to think about posting every single day, right? And so to plan and schedule and publish all those and make the most of the posts that we're doing, it is important to have a calendar. That can be as simple as you print out a blank monthly calendar from, online somewhere, and you just make your own calendar. Like, today I'm going to share this. There was a great quote I got that I'm going to put here. I have a great article to share here, or this is one of those national days like National Puppy Day or whatever day that I could have something fun to share there. So planning out yourself on your own calendar is fine, but there are other apps, of course. Many of you said you're already using Hootsuite in order to kind of manage that for yourself. Some of these, of course, have tons of analytics too that are going to tell you return on investment and also when the best time to post is. And so there can be varying degrees of how involved you get with a third party, with an app, in helping you to do that. But Planoly and Later are also options in addition to the Hootsuite that some of you have already mentioned that you're using. And if any of you, again, want to share more, and there's a couple of you, if I go back, who was using Hootsuite, want to share specifically what you're doing so that others that aren't familiar can kind of get a sense of what is happening there. But I did want to circle back, because I said I would, to Anna. If you want to share, Anna, what you're doing specifically, and you can come off mute. You said that you are being a smaller team. You like to focus on showing your clients that you're a tight and fun community, engaging community. What are some of the things that you're sharing on, I think you said Instagram and Facebook, right? What are you sharing with your clients that really shows you, shows the personality of your team and what you can do for them? Are you there, Anna? All right, well, maybe we'll come back to that, Anna, or you can just put in the chat too what you do there. Lindsay says, I use Social Pilot, and it makes posting super simple. The idea is not to overwhelm here. And if you do kind of leave it up to every day, it is going to be overwhelming. If you think, I got to post something today, what am I going to do? You're going to spend your first hour of the morning just stressing over what you're going to plan. So the idea is just to even keep a list of things you think you can share that would be valuable, little nuggets that you have, and just kind of keep a list, and then that'll help you to think out even a week at a time what you're going to do. Veronica says, I use Hootsuite to schedule posts as well as monitor competitors and partners posts as well. And that's an element of this we haven't talked about. It's, I think, hopefully a more assumed element right now, that we are following and monitoring our competitors and finding out what they're doing, right? Finding out what they're posting and the insights they're sharing and who they're engaging with, right? And being able to get some intel around how we're positioning ourselves with them, certainly our partners, people that we work with, that we want to be continuing to support and encourage them by following them, liking their posts, sharing, reposting, resharing some of the things that some of our partners are sharing as well, to continue to generate that positive reinforcement with them, and all those important things that we want to continue to do. All right, so any questions specifically on just the big bulk of what we talked about here? I'm just going to wrap up with a couple of small things. The big bulk of what we talked about here in respect to really having that engaging presence on social media and making that very active part of what we do as part of our selling on a daily basis. Any questions that we can ask, you can pop them into the chat. But I want to just spend a minute or two on a couple other things. Obviously, not so much in the US, and I know we have a pretty broad US audience on this webinar today, but particularly in other parts of the world, overseas, WhatsApp and WeChat have become very popular. And it's gone far beyond just the free texting. It's a very convenient tool. It has a little more relaxed vibe. And so many of our colleagues, partners, other people in Brazil, South America, particularly with WhatsApp, Europe uses WhatsApp a lot. And then of course in China, that they're big with the WeChat. It's more than just texting at this point, right? You are building a network within your contacts of these tools as well, that allows you a very quick and easy way to communicate, to share, again, the same type of content we're sharing, whether it's stories, videos, images, all of that. And what makes these two, I think, so attractive it's a very intimate intimate audience, I should say. These are people that you have to be on their contact list in order to be sharing content with them. So it is a tool, obviously, once you're engaged a little bit more, where you can continue to engage with existing clients in a way to promote things to them, whether it's through different campaigns that you're doing, whether it's different, again, stories like we would share on Instagram stories or other things, marketing campaigns we're doing, or group chats that can be done as well. But this is great tools for those of us, particularly outside of the US, where I know these are used much more frequently. In fact, WeChat is like 1/3 of people in China are using WeChat on like a regular basis online and how they're interacting. Now, just a couple things. We have mentioned earlier blogs, we've mentioned earlier videos. Don't be afraid of these things, right? There are lots of ways for us to be creative in how we are writing our insights about the industry. And so, yes, blog, and you think, oh, I got to do it all the time. Maybe some people blog once a quarter, right? Once a month, right? You can blog as frequently as you want to blog. You can name it whatever you want. You don't have to name it a blog, right? It's just you're publishing something, right, about how to use your property, how to use your venue, or insights, again, on the industry that are uniquely yours that you're sharing. So don't be afraid of taking time every once a month, once a quarter to write something personally that you're going to share with your clients and with your network. Research and post a short article about how something in your industry works. We've talked a little bit about that. So again, it's not original content that we always have to be coming up with that is going to give us those hits and continue that engagement with our clients across the board. And then as we talked about with video, right? Video is very, very popular now. In fact, I heard some outrageous statistics that within a 1-minute video, you can convey as much information as 1.8 million words in a 1-minute video. Now that seems almost impossible, but I do trust that statistic. And so as we've talked about already, video is very easy for us all to do, and it doesn't have to be super curated, but just getting out there and being real. And I say that too, when we think about, during virtual site inspections and other things, many of us have hired companies now to do professional videos for our site inspections. I think one of the best things we can do with those videos is to not have any narration, but for allow us to have to narrate as we're talking our clients through, but also that we're able to speak to things very specifically that are giving them that personal touch. And so however you're using video, whether you're using video on social media or using video in with virtual site inspections. So for example, making sure that you're adding the value to that you're talking to the video in a way that makes it relevant and interesting to your clients. And so being e-revolutionary kind of puts us out there. But kind of wrap this up, right there, it's really about never making a cold call again. And social media is not just about prospecting. It's not just about cold calling. It's not just about connecting, which I hope that I've been able to sort of share, to really reiterate today how critical it is to have this very strong presence that is interesting, that is engaging, that inspires people around what we want to inspire them around, which is having meetings, getting together, traveling, and getting out there. There obviously is a very sensitive way to do that. We are going to continue to be sensitive to people who are not comfortable with that yet, but there is a way for us to really share those insights and promote what we're doing. But bottom line, when it comes down to connecting and promoting and prospecting and selling, right? There's no excuse for going into any call today cold. We have so much available to us as far as resources where you can look up, research people, and then use that information, not just what their title is and how long they've worked there, but paying attention to things within people's profile, right? That are going to make great conversation. So maybe you see somebody's posted an update on their profile about something within the industry or about meetings. It's a great opportunity for you to not only comment or share that post, but to reach out to them and say, I saw that great article you just posted on LinkedIn, or I really appreciated what you just shared with everyone there. It's an opportunity now to reach out, that there is something, there's a value in what you're reaching out to. And when we talk about prospecting on this very basic level, right? We talk about having a compelling message as we reach out to people. And social media gives us that very compelling message because it gives us an outlet to share our compelling messages, but it also allows us to see where other people are at and be able to engage with them based on their messaging, what's important to them, what's valuable to them. And then when we're reaching out to them, our messaging becomes more compelling and more valuable and more relevant because it's more personal, because we've taken the time to find out a little bit about them. We've taken the time to find out the things that are important to them. We've taken the time to say, I follow you and I like what you do and I like what you share. And that brings a lot of value to what we're doing, certainly as well. So no excuse anymore for the cold calling. But bottom line, we got to be present. We got to be present everywhere. Now, or the last 6 months, last 8 months is not the time to disappear. And if you have disappeared, and we've heard that, right? We just run a big webinar with over 200 travel advisors doing a similar message, not necessarily social media specifically, but just about, how to catch the wave now, how to get out in front of this now and start responding to kind of the increase that we're seeing, right, in leads and demand and such. And somebody posted, gosh, I wish I'd had this 6 months ago, right? But it's never too late. It's never too late to start getting engaged with your clients. The best thing is now they're going to start to notice, right? If we start to have a better presence, if we start to post more, if we start to share those insights and be engaged in those groups, right? Then we will start to be noticed in a way that we maybe never have before. We don't want our competition to be seen or heard from more. This is one of our greatest assets. And other than time, right? Essentially free in what we're doing. And so time, though, is very valuable to us. And that's why it is important for you to plan and be thoughtful about this. So you're not scrambling every day or every couple of days. What am I going to post today? What am I going to do? And then just kind of throw something out there that's not really valuable. We want to be thoughtful and deliberate what we're doing. Certainly over the last 10 months, 12 months, right? There's been this real element of caring, reaching out to care and to show engagement. And that's really, I think, what social media does in general, is it just creates an environment and a community of caring where we are interested in the same things. We want the same things eventually, and we can come alongside each other and help each other and do that. So you want to make sure that we are really establishing that presence and being that trusted advisor. So as a follow-up, I think it's always important to think about all the follow-ups we have with every touch point. And we have been saying to people for 12 months, and I think maybe we even said in some of the webinars we've done with you before, that really as salespeople, we should have about 100 touch points a week, 100 touch points a week, right? And so social media is just one part of that. Social media is part of how we're also, reaching out by phone or reaching out by email. We're connecting on webinars, right? And so the follow-up piece is important. So don't lose any opportunities we have. Many of us have been on more webinars in the last 12 months we've been in our lives, and that'll continue to do so. So as you're on webinars, pay attention to who's on there. Look for ways to connect with those people. And so each of those touch points we have, make sure that there's follow-up, right? And social media can be a great way for us to follow up by requesting those connections. It's a very unique opportunity to make our connection meaningful. Say, we just were on this, session together, or I noticed that you made some really great comments in the chat about such and such, right? And so these are opportunities for us to reach out all those touch points that we're having and give more value, right? And continuing the conversation, continuing to answer questions, continuing to engage people, and hopefully eventually getting to a place where we're maybe moving to having a sales call with things. So that's what we have for today. We have a couple of minutes still for questions. Happy to stay on. I'm just going to peruse the chat here to see if there's any specific questions that came on. Oh, thank you, Kate, for letting us know that Anna had to drop off. We'll look forward to hearing those stories from her another time. But Andrew, thank you. Really awesome info. Thanks for the great presentation, tangible takeaways that I can apply. I trust that's the case for all of you. But if you have outstanding questions, please feel free to chat them quickly. Or I'm also very happy to stay on the line here for a couple more minutes. I want to be thoughtful of everyone's time, that we end right on time, but always want to make sure that we get to those questions. Or Kate, too, if you have any final comments or want to encourage anyone anyway, too, you can unmute yourself. But thank you, Emily, for your comment. And just appreciate the time that we all had with you today as we come alongside each and every one of you in these efforts. And hopefully, again, the information was very useful. I believe Kate will be sending the deck out to everyone, or at least they'll posting. I'll let you share those details. I know you have a lot of information there, but take it away.
It was always from IAC. Fantastic session. I will be sending the deck out, and we'll also, as I said earlier, put it on the YouTube channel and the demand page for anyone that wants the recording to share with their teams.
All right. I think we have a couple more upcoming events or webinars, including one with Mark here at the end of April, and then we'll be back with you in May The topic will be selling value and holding rate. So we look forward to that opportunity then as well. All right, take care, everyone. Have a great day.